Hello and welcome to Ask the Superintendent, or as we like to call it here on EdTV, What's Up Doc. I'm your host, Amy Grundy, and on this show we take your questions and put them to Dr. Merv Doherty, Red Clay Superintendent. We publicized an email address where questions could be sent prior to the show. That address should be up on your screen now. Feel free to email a question during the show. Also during the show, you can call 302-636-5652 with a question, or tweet us a question at hashtag AskTheSuperintendent. We would love to hear from you, and we'll try to get to as many of your questions as we possibly can. So let's get started. No surprise here, the first question that we received, and we received several questions about this, are school closings for bad weather. So who determines when schools are closed during snowy weather?
Well, since we just finished a snowstorm, which caused 2 days of us missing school throughout the state, I think it's a great question. First of all, we monitor through 5 different weather apps and weather stations, the weather weeks in advance, and we try to monitor it. We then hold a conference call with the area superintendents, as well as we have different regions of our district that are monitored with drivers. I drive around the area where I live. And so we take a lot of time to look into the safety of the roads and for our children on buses and our parents transporting them. The decisions we try to make as soon as possible. Weather was always pretty unpredictable. This past storm, it was fairly easy to make the call with over 14 to 16 inches of snow in most areas. We have 5 different climate zones in our district, where we have an area where it could be snowing, another where it could be sunny, and not even raining.
Interesting.
So we have to look at all the areas from the city of Wilmington all the way through Hocassin, through Greenville, out through down Route 2 to the Western Y. And we really take it very seriously. The superintendent in Newcastle County, we have a conference call regularly, sometimes 4 in the morning. But we look at safety first, and then the ability to get on the roads, to get the schools, parking lots, sidewalks ready as well, which can be difficult at times, especially when you have a state of emergency or road restrictions for staff members to get to schools to try to prepare for the next day of school. So I think we do a very good job of thinking about our not only the students riding the buses, but where they have to stand.
Right.
And as you know, in Delaware, most neighborhoods are contracted out. So you could have Route 2, Route 7, 141 cleared, and neighborhoods that have not been plowed.
Right.
So we also have to drive around and look at the neighborhoods as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes people fail to remember that it's not just the roads, but absolutely the corners where students have to stand. So
Absolutely.
That's a very good point. When you close for snow, does it always have to be a district-wide decision?
Yes. When we're looking at the big picture, because our students travel to multiple schools, for example, if we have 7 high schools, we have 8 middle schools, 32 schools in general. So we have students traveling throughout our area. And to say that we're going to have Kirkwood Highway open and not Route 7 or Route 141 or in the city closed, that would affect about 1/3 of our population in either region we look at, plus staff members. One thing you have to think about, if we're closing school and we have staff members that cannot get to school, how do we get the substitutes there? So we have to think about the safety of our staff as well as our students, but also the logistical aspect of we are a very big choice district. And so to close 5 to 6 schools in an area because of snow or a lack of snow removal, it would affect the rest of the district in some way or another.
And I think district-wide, our facilities department and our state did a very nice job. My sister, who lives in Northern Virginia, had 7 days off. So us missing just 2 days, I think, is commendable. Do we have any make-up snow days yet?
Well, we never make that determination until the end of the snow season.
Okay.
The 2 days off, if the governor has called a state of emergency, that's usually a day forgiven. It's always in question if they will or will they not forgive. The Department of Education, the governor will forgive the days. But we're required to make sure we meet the hour requirements for our students, plus our contract for our staff members, which is 188 days. So if they're not forgiven, then we would make up that time. We do build in several days into our calendar for students, and usually when we have to start making up any time at all, it would be to remove half days, which is the easiest for parents.
Gotcha. Shifting topics now, moving on to the one-to-one initiative. When are the computers going to be available to our students?
Well, we've already started the process, and the key in the process was the professional development for the teachers, to make sure that they were going to be able to use the technology that the students had in their hands to enhance instruction, to provide guidance on assignments, to create a paperless environment, if you would say. And so the process isn't a one of speed, it's one of efficiency and accuracy. And as we talked, as we've been talking about this throughout, it's grades 3, 6, and 9. And as we go through, the students will continue to get their laptops, and they will keep their laptops in grade 3, 6, and 9 as they go through that era of their education.
Right.
So example, a 6th grader would have that same laptop for 3 years. We think that will also have an ownership to them, as well as maybe prevent some maintenance that's usually needed. They usually say about 10% of the devices that you hand out will need repaired or tweaked at the end of a year. So we are hoping that this will give more stability to the care that the students take of the laptops. And with the Chromebooks, we think it's a great opportunity, but we did say that a classroom would not receive the Chromebooks until the teacher was trained.
Okay.
And then we're going to hold fast to that, just because we do not want it to become a toy. We want it to become a device that's a tool to enhance the education in the classroom and at home.
So how long do you think this rollout will take?
Well, the total plan of the rollout's 3 years.
Okay.
A total of 3 years. If we accelerate it, that's one thing. It will depend on multiple factors. But as our children go through the system, they will continue. Like our students in K-2 will have the pads, and so a lot of our students are used to the laptops with what we have already in the schools with laptop carts. These become a little more personalized for them. So for the students who are usually light years ahead of everyone else in technology, this is an opportunity for our teachers to really gain a better understanding of how to use the devices for individual work, group work, class work, assignments, receiving information, as well as disseminating information to their class through their Chromebooks.
And you actually just answered the next question that was submitted, is how do you see that students will use these Chromebooks? And you just mentioned some. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Well, I think it's unlimited. We could say we're going to stay in the box here, and the device will enhance what the students do in their work, in their research, in their assignments, in the classroom, what the teachers do. I think it's how far each teacher wants to push the opportunity for the students in the classroom to excel.
Okay.
And that's really what we're trying to do with Schoology. We're trying to do with a lot of the app devices that we have from Google, and to really make this an opportunity that when they go to the next level, which will cause some academic issues on our part, as our students become more familiar with the technology, the educators will have to become more familiar with the technology. And I think this is an ongoing professional development for years to come for our teachers, which we are planning to do.
Right. It's going to shift teaching and learning across our school district. And you mentioned Google Apps, and I know that this month in some of our schools, some of our students are going to go on Google expeditions to take them to places they've never been before. So it really will transform teaching and learning.
Absolutely.
February is I Love to Read Month. So what does Red Clay do to support reading? And I know that's a passion of yours.
Well, we've done everything from the book clubs to the partnerships with United Way, getting books in the hands of young people with multiple opportunities that we've had through partnerships to get the books into the hands of our students. And this will run not only through February, but our big book initiative is Reading Madness.
Okay.
So we go from February to the end of April. And we have incentives for our students and incentives for our classroom teachers. And we really, I think people like the competition. We hold, there'll be broadcasts from EdTV on how the competitions are going. I think the students really like to hear on the TV what's going on. But we think the competitions are important because the more we get them to read the books that they like to read, that is the one issue that improves vocabulary and comprehension.
Right.
We can do a lot of things in the classroom, but if you develop a love for reading, then that's a lifelong skill that opens up the world to you and opportunities in employment, in colleges, and everything else. And I think for us, just trying to promote this through with Dr. Geisha Beard really leading the charge with this. And the schools have really bought into this. Right. And we try to give incentives that the teachers like as well. I promised I would, for each school, I would go in and I'd cover their recess for that period or their bus duty for that day. I think, that's incentives where they want me to work more, I guess. But it's an opportunity for them to, receive a pat on the back for saying, thank you for really encouraging the students in your class to pursue the love for reading. And
I'm not sure if you recall, but as I understand it, you have committed to sitting in a dunk tank for the school that wins this Reading Madness competition.
They've placed me on roofs,
yes,
on dunk tanks. Who knows what's next?
Okay, so it is a possibility that may really be, that rumor is accurate. Can you tell us a little more about Dr. Dees Book Club and My Very Own Library?
Well, what we tried to do with the My Very Own Library was a partnership with United Way.
Okay.
And the United Way opportunity was to provide 10 books for our students who live in the city of Wilmington, who go to city of Wilmington schools at the elementary level. And the opportunity was they could go pick the books. So we brought a Scholastic Book Fair. We've had one this month. There's another book fair at the school. And so it was an initiative through United Way that they went out, found the funding, and benefited from our students. And the opportunity, the one example is a young man I was at a book fair, and he goes, let me get this straight. I get free books. I said, yes, sir. I get 3 of them, and I get to pick them. And I said yes, and before I could finish yes, he was sprinting across the room going after the books he wanted. And I think that's an encouragement because a lot of times we see students who don't have books at home. And we know that when you look at student achievement, it's just not what happens during the school day. It's the activities that happen at home, away from school, that benefit students the most, and when you can do that. The Dr. Dees Book Club we started about 5 years ago, where every school in the district benefited from this, and we were going after young men and women who would go into a book fair and could not afford a book. And I thought that was just the wrong message to send. Right. I want you to walk through a Scholastic Book Fair or a book fair that the school holds, but you won't get to pick a book because maybe your parents don't have the funding. So we don't ask anyone. Principals know who they are. Every Title I school, it's every student. Every other school, we know a student that's in need. We don't ask any questions. They get a little ticket, and it says 1 free book. And that really is just a wonderful opportunity for us. And the partnerships we have through the business community have been just unbelievable to support it. And we've seen very positive outcomes by letting students know that we care a lot about them, but also we care a lot about their ability to read as they move forward. We're not going to improve reading at the elementary level unless we encourage students to find the love for that. And as that process goes through, then you'll see students at the middle school, or less students at the middle school with reading difficulties as they go into high school. So we're really making a big effort at the elementary school to embrace the students with books and enjoy and the opportunity to enjoy reading.
And you should be commended because you absolutely took the lead in forming these partnerships and forming these events to make the book fairs a more equitable opportunity for our students. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Shifting to our next topic, how is the district expanding STEM programs throughout our district?
Well, you know, we've had the STEM camp for 5 years through Eddie McGrath's leadership, where we've had roughly about 400 middle school students.
Mm-hmm.
We've designated programs in our schools at our high schools, from engineering to robotics. We're a big supporter of Bricks for Kids and Lego leagues and robotics in our schools. This year we have a great partnership with Fame.
Right.
That they run a all year-round program and a big summer program at AI High. This year we've started to develop STEM after-school programs with Fame. This was a pilot for us at 2 elementary and 1 middle school. And in the fall, about 150 students were involved, and this year we're trying to get 150 students in the spring at each school to be involved. The students were engaged. They have already started asking when the program is going to start. It will start this month. And so as we continue to look at not only our high schools and revamping our middle school activities, to look at opportunities to increase STEM.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of the big areas when you think of technology and math, computer science.
Right.
And so next year we'll have 3 schools that will start a computer science pathway. We're talking with several companies who do training in programming and coding for extra classes for students who are interested in that area. And the opportunity to look at what we're doing at the middle and elementary school to promote it. And I just envision that within the next 2 years, all of our elementary schools will have after-school programs for STEM initiatives.
And why do you think this is so important?
Well, we have an era of time that we will never know what we're training our students for employment. But when you think of the fields of science and technology, the engineering piece, but the mathematics piece, how they fit together in daily life. Mm-hmm. We know that the estimates that by 2025 there'll be 1 million jobs for programming and coding, computer science skills, and they're estimating that there'll be about 300,000 jobs short.
Wow.
And that's a low estimate. And so we know that computers are here to stay. They create an unbelievable creativity in a young person's mind. And they're already, if you own a phone, you already play a game. And example, for programming a game, developing a game, it's math and technology.
Right.
You have to have math skills to program. And so this is a great opportunity to really pursue creativity in our students. We've seen that with Legos.
Right.
The Lego League, how 8 simple tasks that we think, but they have to program it. The engagement, the Bricks for Kids program, how they had to create answers for disasters last year. The robotics, I mean, just the opportunity, the engineering programs that we have in our schools, the drafting programs we have, they all create this STEM atmosphere. And there's a long way to go.
Right.
But I think we are really trying to push the envelope to where it's going to be a K to 12 issue. We're not just saying we have a school that does that. We want to say we have a district that does that.
Right.
And as we keep scaffolding this to where everyone has it and it goes from elementary through the high schools, it will just help our students with problem-solving skills,
Right.
creative thinking, advanced tech skills. They'll have a better appreciation for science and math. And we are really pushing, in the area when you think about how you don't see in these fields, it's male-driven, and we're really trying to promote young women and more students who are in categories of Hispanic, African American, Asian to really pursue these opportunities.
Right.
And if we have these programs in the middle and high, and then the activities at the elementary level, we're opening the world up to so many ideas for our young people that they never thought of.
I can't recall who said it, but someone said instead of asking our students what they want to be when they grow up, we should be asking them what problem do you want to solve. And I think that the STEM efforts help them to think differently about when they get older. Instead of what I want to be, what problem do I want to solve? So I think it's tremendously important. So shifting gears to the SAT, can you talk to us a little bit about the success that Red Clay students have had on the SAT?
Well, I think if anyone knows me, they know I'm a big fan of the PSAT and SAT
Absolutely.
and AP courses. Well, in the last 5 years, we've led the state in college readiness. We're right now, the last year's data came out, we're 15 percentage points ahead of the district who's second.
Okay.
We make an unbelievable effort with the PSAT in 9th and 10th grade. In 10th grade, you actually take a college prep program after you finish your driver's ed classes to deal with it. We've ventured into Khan Academy, which is free. That if you're not taking advantage of Khan Academy, I basically say shame on you, because it helps you with practice and questions, AP, updates, PSAT. It helps you in every facet of getting ready for the test, but also preparing you for the problem solving that occurs now in the SAT. The test is changing, but I think we've made a major commitment. I tell people all the time, you can look at test scores throughout the system, but our responsibility is when you walk across the stage that you're prepared, that you're ready to go out there. And I think we're doing a fantastic job in our high schools, especially our students are walking out confident that they may want to go to UD, they may want to go to UCLA, they may want to go to University of Texas. We had 125 different colleges, universities. And I think by us giving the PSAT to every student in 10th grade and the SAT to every student in 11th grade, we've seen students, they've opened up in the sense of they may be the first young man or young woman to go to college, and we're finding out they get money when they have a high enough score. And so we're asking them to make an effort. Go get it, see what happens, surprise yourself. And we've seen some just phenomenal stories of young people saying, wow, I really can do this.
Right.
And we think it's really an encouragement for our students. And our staff buys into this, our students buy into it, our parents buy into it. And face it, if you're a high school parent, you're worried about really several points of education. What's my child's SAT score? What's my child's AP scores? And what was the grade in the dual enrollment? We have 15 dual enrollment courses. And so these tie in together. And we keep encouraging students. We've increased the number of students taking the PSAT, our scores went up. We increased the number of students taking the SAT, our scores went up. We increased the number of students taking AP courses, the AP scores went up. So I think it's a credit that we're sort of an anomaly for statistical people, because the more people you add, the scores will drop. And I think we have really good teachers, people who are passionate for their children in the classroom. And I tell them, it starts at the elementary level as they go through.
Right.
So let's not judge our students in 3rd or 4th grade. Let's get them to the high school level where everything starts to click and they say, this is what I really want to do, and watch them excel. And if we can keep you moving through the system and teaching you, that's why I'm not a fan sometimes of other testing, but here is where it pays off.
Right, because the PSAT sometimes helps teachers and students identify potential that they didn't realize the numbers supported they had. So sometimes we put a lid on students and then we see this information, and then opportunities are then afforded to students where they might not otherwise have been. So the data is really important, as is the opportunity.
And that's what the AP classes that we take, that we have. We have 53 actually AP courses in our district. And any students who scored above a 130 on the PSAT, we're saying you should take an AP course. And they really have to tell you, they have to tell us they don't want to take it, but that's a success we've had of students going in there who never thought about taking an AP course has been a wonderful surprise.
Yeah, it's tremendous. Which leads us to our next question about dropout prevention and dropout rates. I think the more opportunities, obviously it impacts the fact that students are staying in school. Can you talk about the dropout rate and dropout prevention just a little bit?
Well, one of the things that we started several years ago was that every school had a prevention plan.
Okay.
And it was to address attendance, retention. How do we make sure our students, no matter what the obstacles they have, are going through the system So by the time they get to ninth grade, they're not thinking about dropping out of school. What we try to do is when we see students that are struggling, get them remediation right away, especially when students enter the ninth grade. We meet with every ninth grade class, and we tell them, this is the toughest year. If we get you to 10th grade, we got a pathway that you're going to get there. So our goal is to get you through, make sure you pass your classes, get you to 10th grade, and then let the magic happen. And we've been very fortunate. The schools have done a phenomenal job. The district staff has done a phenomenal job. We're going to be under 2% this year. We were at 2% this past year. We think the data, when it comes out, hopefully this month or next month, will be under. We're estimating about a 1.6, 1.7. Our graduation rate will go up again. It's gone up, which we were really excited about. We're above 90%. The graduation rates and dropout rates never correlate because you have some students who take 5 years. And this is a state that never used 5-year graduation rates as well, and now they will this year. So we think that that's a benefit. Everybody's working hard. Attendance, we know we're always going to be around 95%. And the key is getting them in school, and the students who feel that they can't be successful, we have alternatives for. We have the Twilight program that we've seen students every year who thought they were going to drop out, and they graduate because we were able to give them assistance, that individualized assistance. And we tell them in 10th grade, step 1 is the high school diploma. Step 2 is college or career. You can't go around the high school diploma because it shuts all the doors. And let us keep opening these doors for you. So diploma, college, or career readiness. And that's why we started the program with Del Tech for our students to be OSHA certified to go into the world of work and also get some college credit. But, from a plumber to HVAC work to welding, they're always going to be needed. Our auto mechanics people in that manner there. So I think, it has helped us a great deal of increasing our graduation rate, lowering our dropout rate, and increasing our attendance rate in schools.
Right, and it hasn't, as you indicated, happened by accident. It's a deliberate effort with schools making plans about academic opportunities, focused on attendance, social, emotional well-being. So it's been a very deliberate effort, and we see, as you indicated in the data, the results. So thank you for sharing that. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for sending in some great questions, and you can continue to email questions to Patty Nash, whose email address is on the screen now for the next episode. Thank you, Dr. Doherty, and thank you, viewers, for tuning in. Until next time, this is Amy Grundy from What's Up Doc.